Hello guys, welcome to Open Techno. Today I'm bringing you again the review of the Potensic Atom 2, a drone that, well, actually not. What I wanted to show you is the new presentation, the new product from Potensic. This controller, the PTD, won a controller that independently, without using our mobile phone, will allow us to connect to and control the drone, the Potensic Atom 2. And yes, what I really want to show you in this video is this new controller that Potensic has introduced to us. Even so, later at the end of the video, I'll give you some conclusions after a few months of testing the Potensic Atom 2. Because as you know, I've been using it for a few months now. And honestly, I've flown it many times and recorded quite a few videos. However, this video is going to focus on this new controller and the new features that the drone has available. And we're talking about a controller that makes a lot of sense, because with the previous one we saw in the video, we needed to connect our mobile device. Our mobile device, which we might need for a call, to record a video, or whatever, and we might not want it connected to the drone's controller. Well, hey, in all those cases, we're going to have this PTD1, which independently has a screen where we control our drone. How does this controller differ from the remote controller shown in the previous video? Well, for me, above all, the most important thing is independence. Thanks to this 5.5-inch screen we have with 700 nits of brightness. This screen has a full high-definition resolution, which will allow us to view real-time videos from the drone in the best quality. When we're flying it, this controller features the transmission system that was also found in the previous PicSync 4.0 remote controller. It has a range of up to 10 kilometers, which is absolutely crazy, as long as we keep the antennas facing the drone. Of course, if we go behind buildings, you'll see that the coverage or signal quality drops. The device's battery increased from 5,000 to 6,400 mAh, which makes sense. Why is this? Well, because we're going to have this screen that actually consumes quite a bit more. Specifically, it's going to give us about 3 hours of use. In my experience, it's going to give us approximately 6 recharges of the drone's batteries, which means about 6 full flights approximately. Of course, we could stretch it a bit more. I used it in full sunlight, so I had to max out the brightness, which likely used more power. However, you should know that the battery life of this remote controller is up to 3 hours. Don't worry, we'll have a USB-C port and fast charging now. We'll be able to charge 90% in just 1 hour and 25 minutes. So hey, in 1 hour and 25 minutes, we'll have this smart controller, this PTD, fully charged. This controller does weigh a bit more now. We reach 450 grams in weight, but well, it's nothing significant. The previous one was 420 grams. And it's also true that we have another new feature, which is that we're gonna have a slot for a micro SD. What is this for? Well, hey, the smart controller. The PTD1 has 32 GB of internal storage to save our videos and other files. However, just so you know, you'll also be able to store extra videos or additional content on a microSD card, expanding the internal storage of this PTD out. Of course, this device we have inside is still an Android device. It comes with the Potensic Key app, from which we can fully control the drone. And we're going to talk a bit about the design of this controller, but it's pretty much like the other one, and you already know it. We have power and automatic landing buttons on the front. We've already discussed the screen as well as the controls for rotating the camera and adjusting the drone's height. This other control will help us move the drone forward or backward, left or right. Here we have the 2 antennas that, as I mentioned, we always have to keep facing each other in such a way that, for example, either its back side or its front side must point directly at the drone. So during takeoff, it's best to have them like this. But once at a high altitude, I think it's better to position them this way so they point toward the sky, which is where the drone will be. On the back, we'll have shortcuts to take a photo, to record video. We'll have the digital zoom on this wheel here. Here we'll have the gimbal control for tilting it up or down. And it gives you direct access, for example, to set a completely top-down shot at 90 degrees. Or on this one here, we'll be able to change the different speeds, the 3 speed levels that our drone has. Finally, on the back, we have a radiator to dissipate heat and a compartment where we can store the controllers, which are simply screw-on. This way, we can store them so that, you know, if we don't want to be hitting the controller all the time while transporting it. However, I usually keep them installed for convenience. The app inside is the same as the one from the full review. It's an app that we connect our drone to, and from there, we can control absolutely everything. Of course, the camera, the gimbal, the movements up and down, moving the drone in all directions, and of course, we can also use the artificial intelligence shots or quick shots. What will we achieve with this? For example, our drone can detect cars, people, animals, or almost any object. It can track and even take automatic shots, like circling around or moving away while recording, or simply following you in parallel. In short, a ton of really cool shots that we're gonna get in a super easy way. What's the final advantage this controller offers? Well, since it's not our personal phone, we can't get calls while we're flying. It's happened to me too. You're flying a drone, then someone calls and you're unsure if you should answer. You control it or can't see it. And after all, with this smart controller, this PTD1, we have a dedicated control. There's nothing that can interrupt us during the drone flight. But we can't forget to talk about the Potensic Atom 2, a drone that we can control from the PTD1. What makes this drone special? And now I'll tell you after testing it for a few months. This drone weighs 249 grams under the 250 gram legal limit. This is the division the law uses to impose different restrictions. With this Potensic Atom 2, you'll be able to fly in a lot of places where you couldn't with heavier drones, right? You can easily check the restrictions on the Anair Drones website. This works for Spain, and there you'll be able to see all the areas where you can fly your drone. Also, this is a very complete drone because it has sensors on the bottom to avoid collisions. Well, hey, when we're flying near the side of a mountain, and of course we also have the convenience that it's a drone, we don't need to be professional pilots, but it will always stay in the position where we left it on its own. It won't wobble to any side or anything at all. And now from the controller, we're going to use the controls, which are super intuitive. Move forward, backward, turn, ascend, or descend. And of course, one of its best features is the camera we have here with this gimbal, which is gonna help us get some super professional shots with 8K resolution in the images, that is, in the photos, and 4K high dynamic range. I'll show you later, which is one of the new features that's gonna record video super well, super stable. I usually record all the shots in speed mode, in video speed, which is basically a slower drone speed with smoother movements, which makes our shots look amazing. I want to highlight the option of automatic shots using artificial intelligence and object recognition, making us appear professional even if we aren't. On the other hand, the batteries included with this drone will give us up to 32 minutes of flight time. In my experience, it doesn't last very long. Are these the batteries? We might end up with between 20 and 27 minutes of flight time. It's true that under optimal conditions, we could reach those 32 minutes, but just so you get an idea, in less favorable conditions, you'll really get between 20 and 27 minutes of flight time with each battery. That's why I'll later recommend this combo that comes with its own case to carry absolutely everything. 3 batteries, which I think are essential when we're going out to record, since we usually use up 1 battery just getting the feel for the drone. And then, the next 2 are really for getting cool shots, which is what usually happens to me in the end. I believe these 3 batteries are essential. Lastly, I want to say that with the PTD1, we'll also be able to use Smart Transfer, which is for transferring files directly to the controller. And we're gonna have 2 new features. Recording in PLOG, which is a logarithmic video profile that allows us to capture much more information, especially about the light, meaning both the highlights and the shadows. And later, that is, for advanced levels of editing, we can edit that video, correct the color, and gain much more information. We also have a high dynamic range mode that provides more detail in highlights and shadows. But just so you know, for all those video professionals, we now have the possibility to record in PLOG. My impressions of this drone after testing it for a few months are very good. If you're unsure about getting a drone or how you'll use it, here's my recommendation. Do you want it to record specific shots or professional videos, or are you unsure? If you want the best on the market or just something really good that gives great results and saves you a lot of money, I think the Potensic is worth it. Why? Well, hey, because it comes with everything. 3 batteries, now the controller is completely independent, it has its travel case, spare propellers, well, absolutely everything. And the price, honestly, is quite affordable. Before we get to the price, let me tell you that during these months, for example, I've been flying it on different occasions, and there have been a couple of times when it did get a few minor bumps. One time it was against a tree, and the other, I can't remember if it was against a wall. The propellers got a little marked, but they didn't even break, and I haven't had to change them at any point. Oh, they've just had a few minor flaws, that's all. But the drone is still flying perfectly. I think it's a very robust and stable drone. As you can see at the end of the video, the results are very good. In one of the videos we recorded the other day, unboxing so to speak, the PTD1, you'll see that it was quite windy. And one good thing about this Potensic is that it can handle all the wind you throw at it and much more without any problem. It stays stable, the recordings are super steady, honestly it's a pleasure. And one thing I have to say is that the communication between the remote and this Potensic Atom 2 with this PTD won the controller, the smart controller. Honestly, it's incredible. I mean, even if the signal drops, it still maintains the full high definition stream at 30 frames per second. That's just how it is. As long as we have coverage, we'll get great video reception, even if it's behind a building. Honestly, I'm really happy with this drone. You can get really cool professional results. You don't really need anything more unless you're a professional and want the best of the best. But I think this drone delivers in absolutely every aspect, and now I just have to talk about the price. And all the clips you've seen in this video were recorded by me. I'm not any kind of professional. In fact, I consider myself pretty bad at flying drones. I have very little coordination with the controls, but even so, as long as you move slowly, gently, and in a coordinated way, you'll get spectacular results. Honestly, this drone is really worth it, and now let's talk about the price. The price, I'm going to talk to you about it with this PTD1. If you buy it with the standard version, meaning the drone with a single battery and this controller, it would be 459 euros. If you want the combo, it includes the case, 3 batteries, and spare propellers. Anyway, for me, that's the version that's most worth it. In the end, you might go out, hit a tree, break a propeller, and have to stop recording, ruining everything. I think it's worth always carrying this combo to get you out of a jam. This combo is just a little more money, 579 euros, and we get the full package. Now, if you already have your combo, your drone, your case, everything, but you want the transmitter separately, the smart controller, the PTD, one you would have to pay 279 euros, which is the price of the controller by itself. I also want to know what you thought about this video, if you like this drone, if you think it's worth it compared to the competition. I'm telling you now, to get something similar, you have to spend more than twice as much. It's true that there may be some drones that have extra features or some improvements in video quality. But is it really not worth it? The Potensic Atom 2 costs less than half and delivers great results. Well, you've already seen them in the video, so with that said, if you liked the video, leave a like and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.